What's up, you guys? It is the Trakke Bannoch backpack from Trakke out in Scotland. They're hand-making dope bags out of excellent material, and this Bannoch 2.0, all right, we saw this previously. It was in a salt and pepper material that was like really kind of one of a kind for sure. Now they've upgraded it in their dry wax canvas, which is so dope. First point, I just like, Trakke just seemed to have values and a soul as a company, and so thanks for that, Trakke. Okay, so I got a few points I wanna make on this bag. Just let me take my headphones off, because I literally I'll just leave those on forever if I'm not careful. And also, let me switch into a little bit of work attire, because, with a cool little hat, because this bag is excellent for your business folks out there. For people who need a backpack, because we can wear backpacks now. We're just allowed to. That looks stylish, has a kind of a heritagey vibe, looks good with, you know, you could be a creative director at an agency, you could be doing some hedge fund stuff, but you're kind of a cool person, you know? It's a good backpack for work is what I'm getting at. By the way, this shirt, I don't think I've done a video on this. This is Ministry of Supply. Oh, dudes, if you haven't tried one of their, I'll find out, I'm not sure exactly which one this is. I'll link to it below. It's so sick. It's just light and stretchy. I could work out in it. Okay, now the fun part about a bag is when it works the way that you do. When you've got the organization, when you like the clips, you like the straps. So let me walk you through every nook and detail on this bag. Old world materials. Okay, this is my first point about it. It is made with some, what I call old world materials. It actually doesn't feel quite as old world as it used to. Their wax canvases used to feel very waxy and damp, and it was cool, and it felt like something like out of Robin Hood's, the Kevin Costner one. But the big point I want you to get on this is it's a delight to your hands. Okay, I can talk your ear off about Scottish hand-woven wax canvas, dry finish, both on the inside liner and out, yada, yada, yada. But where this really impacts your life is just what it feels like. And it feels sensational, like literally, it's actual sensations. It's sensational. Here's the bag empty. It comes in at, let's see, 2.5 pounds is what it's supposed to come in at. So let's see what we end up with here. Yeah, 2.5658 right there. Now that's 2.58 pounds of pure unadulterated dry finish wax canvas, both inside and out. The liner, which is killer because it has this bright orange material. We're gonna talk about these clips in a second. So lots of visibility inside these flaps and stuff like that. Inside the bag, actually not a ton of visibility down into the cavity. We're gonna talk about that. So you've got a double layer of that wax canvas. It feels, it just, again, density, heft, solidity. Like this feels like something your kids are going to want when you pass away. Classy, natural aesthetic. Okay, the vintage, heritage, rucksack vibe. This thing makes you look good, all right? It's stylish in a good way. And I just think that the silhouette, the size of it on, again, this doesn't even have anything in it, but you can see the way that the material has a sort of integrity to itself. It keeps its shape. That has to do with the dry finish wax canvas. But I just think the size, it's like the size feels good, it looks good, the straps look good. Just like a heritage kind of vibe it's definitely modernized. It's definitely a modern look with like sort of a heritagey materials. But it's classic, it's got that vintage rucksack vibe, it looks good, and it feels very natural, right? So if you're an owner of this bag, this is the kind of stuff you're bringing into your life, not just aesthetically, but like I said before, just the natural feeling of it. It feels like a real product. Modern-ish organization, okay? We've got actually quite a bit of organization on this bag, but with heritage materials, you hear this in my next point, sort of unfussy about organization. Once you've opened the top, you've got 8 readily accessible locations that you can put stuff, all right? 2 water bottle pockets, which they don't stretch, they don't have any elastic or anything like that. Surprisingly though, they do fit quite a bunch. So you water bottle people with the umbrella on the other side, again, all keeping a kind of classy look. Obviously a water bottle in your bag, some of you are like, gugh, I would never. You know, sometimes people don't want to look like they have their water bottle hanging out because that'll definitely bring down the classiness a little bit. Like you have a Nalgene hanging out of there, you're just like, so did you hike here? You got this front flap with 2 vertical spots right here. These are kind of like the tenderloins. They're going down the either side of the spine of the front of the bag. These end up being useful for throwing in little pouches like the Bellroy Classic pencil case. I will link to my video on this in the description below. I did like a 20-minute video on this thing because I love it. It's actually brilliant. Got my little headphones. I like to make those quickly accessible in here. My Sennheiser Momentums. Video coming soon on earbuds. The different ones, which one you should get, because boy, those are hard to test, man. Then behind this flap, you actually have what is probably my favorite. This is so stupid, but this is like my favorite place on this bag. Why? Because it's just one of those places where, for me, to have a little book, like Building the Earth with Teilhard de Chardin, the French Jesuit. Anyway, sorry, I did that in the last video and I'm still tripping out on this guy who's a French Jesuit mystic scientist of the classic ages recently. And they just think differently. It's like when the world seemed kind of new, when civilization was like, hey, I think we can do this. There's so much hope in there. And then my iPad Pro, right? So these 2 fit perfectly right in there. Out of sight, out of mind, always need them when I have them. Not getting messed up by other stuff in the main capacity of the bag. For some reason, those little ones that don't have any top on the top. I love that. From the first Filson briefcase video that I did, it has some of those. I fell in love with those. By the way, that's a classic one of my videos. If you haven't seen that one, you might not want to watch it ever. I'll link to it below at the description at this time code. I'll link to everything that I'm mentioning here, including that Bellroy thing, the book with Teilhard de Chardin, all of this stuff at the YouTube description. There'll be a time code, okay? Okay, so then inside the top of the bag, you've got a quick access bit at the top here. Now, it's not quite quick access because if you are cinching these clips down, there is nothing quick about getting into your bag. So once those are closed down, you don't have a lot of access to anywhere in the bag, including those front tenderloins or anything except for this. So I found myself constantly just having one of them, and if I kid, just none at all, because I'd just be gripping it and ripping it. Then you have the main capacity of the bag. Can you see this? The main capacity in here. You can actually fit a surprising amount in here. So in there is where I would put my Porter pen pouch from Brown Buffalo, which I love because it's just this, it's made with these dual layers and it's got like this hypalon type thing in the inside, so it's thick and it keeps its structure. And I just put a bunch of bars and snacks, some THC and CBD oils, depending on how productive I want to be in the emails in the afternoon. Some chocolate. I'm really serious about carrying snacks with me and having resources like the CBD, also some cash, like little things like that. You're stuck on the tarmac and the airplane pilot's just like, hey, looks like we're gonna need to stop here for a second and they're gonna pull out the engine of our plane and see what's wrong with it. You've got goodies. Okay, so I always have a pouch like that, which I slide in there. By the way, back to that quick access pocket. This is where I've got a pen, my Mark I from Studio Neat, which I love, with the little clip. I'll link to my pages on those. Apple Pencil for my iPad Pro. I just throw those straight into the quick access compartment with a little Pavlova Home, which is like a, you put your, it's got like some smell good stuff. So when I look like a hobo, I can smell like I walked through an essential oil treatment center. Then I've just got a simple case for my glasses. My glasses, I love these Raen glasses. If you're looking for glasses, highly recommend them, or the Warby Parkers or something like that. They typically come with a great case. Throw those in there and there's my quick access. I leave it unzipped the way that I roll there. And then as far as the only other thing that I got is this big tech pouch it's the Toolcase XL from Minaal. And I've got like a battery from Nimble, who makes batteries out of like corn and garbage, which is great because then I can just charge my phone anytime. I've got all my cables that I need for these PXC 550s, which I love. I'll put a link below to my Bluetooth headphone Deathmatch. One little note on this, you can see up front the things that you want, and then inside of here, there's actually a divider so you can put some more stuff in the back. So you got quite a bit of organization in a protective sort of box that's relatively easy to zip up. It's got padding all around. I live in pouches like these. You can go to, I'll put a link in the description at this time code to my favorite pouches that I just have a big list of my favorite pouches. You can click on them and check them out. I think it's worthwhile to have pouches, especially in a bag like this, because then you can have a modular kind of carry with this, like I get to the cafe and guess what comes out with me? Just that, like basically everything I need's here. The only other thing I need is my MacBook charger, which I just throw into the main capacity here, okay? Because my laptop compartment here is on the back, padded, nice. It's not pulled up off the, it is pulled up off the bag, off the bottom a little bit. It's suspended, it is. But depending on how you have this packed, because it is such a soft outer shell, it might not, you could kind of get the edges going. So I'm fine with my MacBook Pro in just about anything because I treat my bags relatively carefully. Though it is nice when you get that bag that you know you can just huck it and your laptop's fine. I know that I just made some of you just like pee your pants a little bit. Laptops are expensive, man, and you don't want to mess with them, right? So I find that this is fine. My laptop, my 15-inch MacBook Pro goes in and out super quick and easy, and I love that. I love when a laptop compartment just like is sliding in and out. It's like lubed. Okay, so a very modern-ish organization setup on a very heritage, classic, natural, like kind of old school aesthetic bag. You get a ton of features without having like 50,000 zippers everywhere. And that's why you end up liking a bag like this so much, because every place, everything has its own home, you know? Isn't that what's so fun about when you're carrying something every day that carries your whole life from your home to office and back, and you're probably going to the gym, and you're probably going to a bunch of different stuff, or you're a digital nomad like me, and like everything, my whole business is in here and I'm just working from cafes. That's what I like so much about well-organized bags like this. Unfussy interactions, all right? Minus these clips, which can get a little fussy. So there aren't 1,000 zippers on this thing. There's not a bunch of bells and whistles and stuff. It's like, this is just a fucking flap. Like that's just a flap, and it works great to just lift it up, get my stuff behind there. I've got some stuff. It feels very grown up. Does that make sense? It feels like a grown up bag. That said, the visibility on this main compartment is deep. So deep as putting my butt to sleep, which means it tingles when I walk. And it also means it can be hard to look down at the bottom of the bag. I'm oftentimes, when this is at my feet in the cafe, I'm not actually looking for things. I'm putting my hand in and feeling for them, okay? So that's another reason why pouches and that kind of modular setup in this are essential, because there's no zipper that gets me into the main compartment of the bag out here. Everything comes through the top, okay? So that's just one caveat you'll have to get used to. And then the other caveat is I know some of you would rather go hungry and live on the streets than do this every time you use this bag, right? I definitely know some of you feel like that. And that's why this bag would never be an option for you, just because you don't want to do that all the time. My experience with it is this. I only ever lock one of them when I'm going, unless I'm doing full public transport and all that stuff. I almost never do that. I live pretty chill. But live pretty chill, man. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what that means. But normally I'm not like with a bunch of people everywhere and I'm like locked and loaded for bear. I know sometimes you're walking through Manhattan and it's like Tokyo and you're just in some public transport and it's like any little roaming finger can get into, and you don't want that. This is when it's cinched down, ultimately you don't have a lot of that going on. Your quick access is inside. Everything is inside. By the way, this dry canvas, like cotton thing can be a little stiff to adjust, all right? And another thing to know is when it's tight, is a real bitch to use. You definitely don't want it to be too tight. Another thing to know is when you pack this thing way out, you can get this top to about there, but getting these all the way out to there and then using them when they're all the way out, they're just slightly not long enough for me, I noticed, because one of the sides has some fatness and you really don't want that. It makes it hard to get this thing through when you got fatness on one side. Damn near impossible. Now, every bag carries a bit shittier when it's all packed out. Some are damn near impossible to use, and some are just like, it's not my favorite. This one, I find there's a definite sweet spot where it's easy, you've got enough movement to put stuff in. If you're packing this out a bunch, these get kind of funky, all right? So know that, but the good thing about it, these are gonna live like a billion years longer than you. Like the scene in fucking Terminator, where it's like the playground, and like the atomic bomb has gone off, everything's dead. Like the camera would slowly pan by, and you'd see like, oh, never mind. The latch for my Trakke Bannoch bag is still fine. Now let's talk about the carry comfort. I really don't have anything to report here. Just a caveat, all right? First of all, straps are great. Same wax canvas material with wax canvas, dry wax canvas liner as well on the like piping on the side, so it just feels great. This bag has a chance for patina. Do you know what that means? Like when things like age over time, they actually get better with age. Like in that way that my relationship with my wife is kind of like I think we're just learning how to have sex and we've been married for almost 15 years. Like this is getting better with age. So I like these straps. They're like sex with my wife, I guess. And then on the back of this thing, you have a place you can put a hip strap if you really need it. They make one. No mesh, no air channel. This is how they keep it from looking too Kickstarter-y. Do you know what I mean? So it's a very grown-up bag. That means those of you who are really thinking a lot about your sweat, like this ain't for you. I totally totally get it. You know, you can't get places without being sweaty. You need as much help as you can get. Don't go with something like this if that's a priority for you. But I found that, you know, it's as sweaty as every backpack is typically as sweaty as I'm going to be. Like even when they've got the airflow, like it helps. It definitely does help sometimes, especially when I'm in travel and it's just god awful and you just put something against your back and it's like, ugh. Like right now in San Diego, it's like so hot right now. So carry comfort is all just solid, like great straps. You got the hip support if you need it, and just know that there's no mesh or air channels. Now, can you use this for minimal travel? Can you get this bag and like do a business trip with it? Yes, if you can pack minimally, you absolutely can. Just remember my caveat on the more this thing's packed out, the worse it gets to carry with. That's typical for most bags. Even more so with this one, because your visibility is so low, whatever you need at the bottom of the bag when you got a packing cube on top, it's like, nope, sorry. The packing cube goes in first, all the shit you don't need at the bottom, and then your tech stuff, the things you need like during the flight up at the top. So it's doable with a smaller packing cube, like this one from Nomatic. I'll link to this in the description below. It's just a solid one. I've got on I'll also link to where my favorite, the Eagle Creek Spectre ones are great for really lightweight. This packing cube from Peak Designs is my favorite, but it's big. I wouldn't want to travel with this bag with this packing cube. Just a smaller one, okay? With like a shirt, like a pair of really minimal, like thin, lightweight jammies. So doable for minimal travel if you want to just like one bag for the business meeting while you're gone. Just be smart about what you're wearing. Like, cause you know, there's technical clothes like this Ministry of Supply shirt, like I would travel any day of travel in this thing. And the next day when I could actually wear this cause it doesn't wrinkle. It's super comfortable. Doesn't hold odor the same way. This thing's sick. Or the wool and prints ones that I like, the wool ones. Now I wouldn't, there's a lot of travel I wouldn't do in those though. But you know, you find some good kit. I'm collecting like pants and shirts for men and jackets as well over at matterful.co, because when you got that stuff sorted out, you really don't need to bring very much because the clothing does so many things. It's one item of clothing. It does so much stuff. This is my dream for travel. Now, is it worth spending more money on this thing than going with just like for instance, this Topo core pack, which I've done recently. I'll link to the description below to that one. 129 bucks or something. It's like 120 bucks. Killer bag. Like arguably better to use than this in a lot of situations for a lot of different people. You would upgrade to this because business vibes, like natural vibes, your hands, the density, the feeling, the satisfaction of it itself just feels good. And specifically though, you can get your business vibes. Like you can use a backpack. It doesn't look juvenile. It feels grown up when you're using it. Whereas, you know, this is like bring your own trail mix, right? In this bag, you may get more potential sex partners, right? You just might have more opportunities for that than this bag. But it depends on if you're on the trail. If you're doing like a trail, like you do, actually both of these fit in the trail. Just Trakke's background is like actually being outdoorsy gear stuff, right? But I think that the aesthetic is so killer for modern urban environments, totally. This is like a Land Rover. You know what I mean? It's like a Land Rover. You see the guy in a Land Rover or the people in a Land Rover, it's like you want that person to not be a dick. It's awesome when they're not a dick, first of all. But second of all, like you think about you being in a Land Rover, like, yeah, you could do a Land Rover or a Ford Explorer. Both will get you there, right? So this is a little bit of that's why you upgrade to this, because you're a Land Rover-y kind of person. You know what I mean? Okay, where are you gonna feel the rub on this bag? Like I mentioned before, the more you pack it out, the sort of the bummerier it gets. So keep it at a level, right? You're also gonna feel it in the price. Like the price is like you're paying up front for it, and in some ways, depending on if there's a sale or something like that, maybe you can get a break. But a product like this is valuable. It's like worth what they're charging. It's really actually craftsman-y, right? It's a soft goods product you can just collapse and put it in the closet. Like it doesn't take up any space in your life if you don't want it. Or you can literally live every day out of it. And it's made by artisans, like thoughtfully crafted. How sick is that? There's so much in our life that we don't treat that way, right? That we don't have that kind of connection with our products because we're buying them just the cheapest possible on Amazon. Our biggest fear is being ripped off. And that's really shifted for me. Like, I don't want to be ripped off. I don't want to be stupid for buying something that was dumb. But I'm more interested in finding something I really love than I am in not getting ripped off. Does that make sense? Other places you're going to feel the rub are obviously these clips for some of you. Others of you, you're just going to you're going to be like super fast. Like, I've done this probably 100 times at this point, and I'm fast. Like I can do it. Not that I'm fast, I'm comfortable with it. I can do it in my sleep. I can do it with my eyes closed. I'm doing it several times while I'm just sitting here talking to you, not looking at it. There is a feel to it. There is a kind of an intuition to it. You get used to how it works. But some of you are gonna wish this just had a zipper on the top. They've got other bags that do that, but not with as much organization and as kind of a classy a vibe as this. So it's stylish, it's organized, you got this incredible tactile satisfaction in just the sort of naturalness of the fibers that you're working with and the design overall, and all of that from a company that has like some values. This is a very solid product. Thanks, Trakke. Now this might not be the right one for you, so you can check out my business backpacks page, okay? I'll link to that in the description below at this time code. A bunch of backpacks that I've been collecting over the years, basically, for what's good for the backpack for work. Like, you need a backpack for work. You could do like a Samsonite briefcase or something, but that's out. White Jesus is out. Samsonite briefcase is kind of out right now. So I'll link to that page with a bunch of them because there's a lot of good backpacks out there. And if you do purchase this, use my link if that's easy for you, just because that's how we keep things going at the channel. I don't get paid to make these videos. Sometimes I'm starting to be able to charge some people for just for locking in their date on the calendar. And I'll be hopefully charging more in the future because now it's like I'm just making videos and I can make videos for whatever comes in, but I'm trying to just I want to make videos on what I want to make videos on. Unless someone has a bunch of money they want to pay me, in which case I'll make whatever fucking video you want, just my way. So use my links if you can. And also, we're doing a huge giveaway soon when we pass 75,000 subscribers on this channel, which is only like a handful of weeks away at this point if things keep going the way they have been. So you want to get on the email list at matterful.co. That's how you enter to win for free gear. I'll put a link to that in the description below at this time code. Also, any of you who are interested in conscious cannabis use and how we can actually be more productive, have more focus, have more sort of alignment, self-awareness, that kind of stuff, can we use this thing that's slowly becoming legal throughout the entire United States for more productivity? Or do we have to just start wearing sweatpants and watching Netflix and having strong opinions about which potato chip is best? I say no, sir! You need not be a dropout to enjoy the cannabis, and I am kind of passionate about helping people find their way through, like, how can we use this? Can this be a tool to like help me turn off my brain because I'm working so much? It takes so much to be successful, you guys. It takes so much fucking shit to be, it takes so much of you to force something to work sometimes. I know some of you are like nodding yes. I know others of you, there are some people who actually they go with a kind of ease and a kind of flow and they don't force things through and they've learned some sort of woo way, some balance. I love that. That's what I'm about. It takes so much to be successful. And I've noticed that for myself, for a lot of people, we don't know how to shut our brains down. At the end of the day, we don't know how to turn it off. I was a cocktail drinker for years. I loved making cocktails. I love booze. I still love beer and wine and all that stuff. But I found that the day after, there was an impact. And with cannabis, it was totally different. And actually, the inebriation was really different too, you know? So anyways, I've got an email list that I'm slowly growing for conscious cannabis use, for more productivity, flow, focus, all that kind of stuff. Get on that email list if you're interested at all. I haven't sent anything out yet. I will be only when I have good stuff to send, okay? Okay, I know you have a lot of options when you fly the friendly skies of YouTube. And I know you're probably out there grinding away in your life, trying to figure out what it is that you're up to, right? And that's like, it's like, that's the thing. That's the rub. That's where so many of us, so much opportunity, so much potential, right? So much noise out there you're competing with. I have a website, workwithchase.com, and it's just like, I can coach, I just talk with people. I just wanna, like, I help some people brainstorm problems, like other people are just like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. We just get into it. It's excellent. But it's related to that work I did for years at Fizzle, where I was just, for 7 years, building something that would teach entrepreneurship to people who just, I've got an internet connection, I can make a website, I wanna make videos, podcasts, do whatever. Like, I've taught people how to earn a living doing something they care about. What I've learned is not everybody is being successful in that, because there's like stuff you gotta learn about yourself and there's stuff you gotta learn about the world, okay? Both of those things are two very real things going on. You have an inner experience and you could be totally fucking deceiving yourself. If you have, I don't know if you know this, but we're really good at deceiving ourselves. That's why we study monkeys and stuff, because they don't lie as good as we do. But 98% of the DNA is still the same, right? So it's an asset to have these critters who they have so much in common with us, but they don't have that neocortex where so much of our self-deception and our deception of others comes from. Because in your inner landscape, you can be deceiving yourself. You can be blind to things because you're so focused on resisting seeing something you don't want to see, feeling something you don't want to feel, that like my whole personality was built on that. Like, I just didn't want to look at this stuff, and so I created this whole construct over here. Well, all the growth internally has been looking there, and as I've gotten aware, like, I'm kind of, am I like losing you? Are we talking too deep here? All I mean to say is that there's an inner landscape and an outer landscape, right? And both of them require some education and some insight, some awareness, some real like eyes up, like what's really going on here, right? And when you're grinding away, trying to be sexy, trying to be cool, trying to be successful, trying to feel like you already are successful. And the challenge is in feeling successful, you know? Like, you've got everything on paper that you should feel better than you do. That's a real thing. That's a real feeling, right? Just as the real feeling of like, you know, you've got a ton of potential and you haven't put anything out yet. And you don't know what you're doing. And if you did, you got that fear of criticism, you're risking in the direction. And maybe that's just what I'll leave you with, is that we can take risks on purpose, right? We can take risks in a specific direction. And if you're intentional with what that direction is, and if you can convince yourself that that risk is worth it, because this is where so much meaning is generated. And once you got meaning's like kind of like movement on the bicycle. You ever try to stand up on a bicycle and it's not moving? It's like, it only works when you're moving, right? Meaning is like movement. It feels like, so I'm not necessarily in the wrong spot. I may not be in the right spot, but I'm not in the wrong spot. So where should we go from here? I love when people have that kind of movement in their life. That feels like a night and day difference for me in my life. I've experienced it. I mean, I also fall off the bike a lot too. That's why I'm making something about cannabis too, because cannabis can help you fall off things. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying attention. Your attention is the most valuable thing in the world. Why are you giving it to me? I'm just like a weird person on the internet, right? Well, if you like this, let's take this to the next, let's take our relationship to the next level. Follow on Instagram, I guess, is what that is. Follow on Instagram. And let's see if I'm using Instagram stories. You can chart my like mental health by seeing my use of Instagram stories. Like yesterday, I was just singing Don Henley Into the Sunset and thought I'd film it. I guess that's an option for modern life. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.